There's a major difference between a man basher and a man hater. And psychos like this Eve's daughter who runs this blog called Eve Bit First proves time and again that she is the latter. Because see, at least when you're dealing with a basher, more often than not, they're targeting specific points of concern where they feel that there's need of legitimate correction, where the person being, quote, bashed, unquote, needs to do some self-examination in order to better interact and relate to the people or the group of people who are doing the so-called bashing. So what we term bashing, even though it may be harsh and cruel at times, and in many instances may be skewed severely one-sided, the principle generally is that here's a legitimate problem that needs to be worked on, that needs to be fixed, before we can hope to see eye to eye with each other again. And it's only a matter of the sincerity of the persons doing the bashing, which results in how the bashee interprets it. So even though it may not be welcome, anyone with a little bit of honesty and sincerity in their heart at least recognize and understand that there is, at least to some degree, a purpose of genuineness behind it. Then you've got pure, unadulterated, completely and entirely unambiguous haters who are about absolutely nothing but demonizing all members of a specific group. And that's where this Eve's daughter character fits in. She's not legitimately concerned about women's issues. She's not even concerned about rape victims, as she puts on this pretense of being. Her whole purpose and driving force behind her vitriolic screeds is for no other purpose than to demonize men, period. Heterosexual men in particular, but seeing how she lays all of these issues out, even homosexual men are not exempt from being demonized within her cold, bitter, angry, poisonous glare. All it needs is a penis, and that suffices for her. And we're going to allow her to continue to expose herself as she confirms that this is her only true agenda. So picking back up on these list of indicators which supposedly declare that if a man fits any of these characteristics, he's a supporter of rape. The next item on the list. She says, he has gone to a strip club. Really? So let's examine and try to understand the whole concept first of all. Why do men who go to strip clubs generally go to strip clubs? Well, for the same reason that they like to view pornography. Or pretty much for the same reason that men like to buy the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated. Because men like to see women in various stages of undress. And for some of these men, they get more satisfaction seeing a live, warm-blooded, breathing human being in front of them, which gives them more visual stimulation and satisfaction than if they were just to pick up a magazine off the rack or to just go down on the beach girl watching. And it's a privilege they wouldn't mind shucking out a few dollars for. You know, talk about zero return on your investment. But hey, that's the way some guys like to waste their money, fine. Some do it by gambling. But at least on the gambling table you have a chance of at least winning a little bit every now and again. But if dude is satisfied with paying overpriced drinks and having a little kitty cavern grinding close to his nose, then hey, whether you think it's classy or not, that's his privilege. But since attending a strip club, or its more niced up title, an exotic dancer club, if attending one of these places equates in a man being a supporter of rape, then I'm quite sure you've heard of the Chippendale dancers, am I correct? So using simple reverse the roles logic, what evil, hateful, accusatory thing can we say about women who attend male stripper reviews? I mean, surely it makes no difference whether it's a vagina grinding in your face or whether it's a penis flopping back and forth in front of your eyes. The concept and the principle are exactly the same. And since the greater number in these male reviews happen to be homosexual, then I suppose we can say that women who attend male stripper dance reviews, well, they're supporters of pedophilia. What? That's unfair? Yeah, tell me about it. Are we becoming enlightened yet? And let's not stop there. Let's take it to the next level. Since a man attending a strip club where there are naked women dancing around make men supporters of rape, then would it not equally suggest that any women who prance around on stage half nude or totally completely nude, getting dollar bills shoved into their garters or dancing under a shower of dollar bills from guys trying to, quote, make it rain, unquote. If they're actually up on stage supplying the entertainment which makes men supporters of rape, then by the exact same logic, the women who are on stage are also supporting and promoting rape. Because why would any woman in her right mind want to do anything that would encourage men to go out and start raping women left and right? Or to do anything that would show that they support and defend a man's right to just go out there and rape? So the question becomes, who's the more guilty party here? The guys going to the clubs to be entertained, or the women working the clubs doing the entertaining? Again, you cannot have it both ways. Next indicator. He has ever revealed he conceives of sex as fundamentally transactional. Hate to break the news to you, dearie, but that's a guilt trip that's laid most appropriately in the laps of women, and you know it. Damn near everyone and their great-grandparents know that men often just want to have sex just for the sake of having sex. Women, on the other hand, are almost universally known for attaching conditions to sexual activity, frequently with some materialistic bent assigned to it, which is why you hear a lot of men complaining about women being prostitutes, and the context is not in relation to the actual work of prostitution, but they actually refer to their marriages as prostitution arrangements. We hear many men complaining about being stuck in loveless marriages, how the only time they ever get sex is when they have to negotiate something with the wife for either new drapes, new carpeting, remodeling the house, a new car, or she simply just wants to dictate terms and only have sex during her fertile periods, or she used sex as the tool to get you to marry her in the first place, and then once the gold ring got slipped on her finger, suddenly she loses all interest in sex, or at least sex with you, or whatever situations and conditions surround these things. And then we want to demonize the guys who fall into this category of these loveless marriages or these sexless marriages, and then we want to shower blame and guilt upon their shoulders should they decide that enough's enough already, I can't stand being in a relationship like this. If I can't get it at home, I'll put an ad up on Craigslist and I'll get it somewhere outside of the home. So nice try, Hatezilla. So keeping with that theme, Eve's daughter gives us the next one. He characterizes prostitution as a legitimate job choice. I don't know if she means what she's trying to say is a legitimate job choice, or she's separating these words as individual items because she puts each word in quotes. Or defends men who purchase prostitutes. Okay, so this would be a good opportunity to share a little secret with you, which isn't really a secret at all. You want to know who many of the biggest and most enthusiastic recruiters into the prostitution biz are? That's right, other prostitutes. And in many of the situations where a male pimp is involved in the recruiting, in many of those instances there's a female companion, often a prostitute herself, who is actively trying to draw others into the biz or the lifestyle. But more often than not, it's just prostitutes trying to encourage friends and acquaintances to get in on the game. Ooh, girl, did you know you can sell that? You can make all kinds of money selling pussy. Now maybe you may not have heard it yourself personally, but those of us who've been around, especially those of us who have lived in or around areas where prostitution is somewhat common, we see and hear that stuff going on all the time. If you need any more reminders, are you old enough to remember Xaviera Hollander? Many of you know exactly whom I'm speaking of, but in case you need a little bit of insight, do an internet search on the words "the happy hooker." And also keep in mind, and this is a fact, that in most of your brothels throughout the world, however you want to refer to them, brothel, cat house, whorehouse, whatever, that most of these establishments set up throughout various parts of the world, especially in your poor and developing nations, are overwhelmingly run by females. I'm talking the owners and operators of the establishments. Overwhelmingly run by women. Try to dispute that. So again, if buying prostitutes equates into being a supporter of rape, then how much more of a supporter of rape is someone who actually sells the prostitutes, whether it's a cat house madam or whether it's the prostitute herself? Again, you cannot have it both ways. And in this last one relating to the sex industry, he has procured a prostitute. Really? Just like that, huh? No explanations, no qualifications, no trying to understand why. Just call the guy a supporter of rape simply because he was willing to pay for his own personal pleasures to be met. Yeah, right. And so by that same sort of logic, then I guess that we can say that, let's say the guy's a gun nut, goes to gun shows, buys the Guns and Ammos magazines, goes out on the firing range, goes hunting. I suppose that that automatically makes him a supporter of gangland violence. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You see the stupidity of your logic? But of course you don't, because you don't think that deeply. I mean, logic must give you a massive migraine. Or perhaps logic doesn't appeal to you because it's not emotional enough. It contains too many of those nasty little needling things that you like to avoid called facts. So since this segment focused primarily on prostitution and exotic dance clubs, and you want to take issue with the way that certain women earn money in these particular fields, if they bother you that much, then tell me, what the hell are you doing to actually go out there and to convince and encourage these women to stop working in these fields of employment, whether it's legitimate employment or not? What are you doing personally to try to discourage them from entering that lifestyle? And what are you trying to do to help pull out anyone who's already in that lifestyle? What are you doing to bring these types of, quote, jobs, unquote, to an end, so that these women would not present themselves as being the same supporters of rape as you're accusing the men who choose to spend money on their services, even at the risk of going to jail, as many of these activities are illegal. If you're not doing anything to pull these women out of this type of work and to put an end to those sorts of business transactions, if all you're doing is just mouthing off at men and not taking any action to help these women find a better way, then mind your own business and let these women conduct theirs. Talented 10th.